Okay, so let's now have the next. We have to create a monthly summary table. So let's have creating a monthly summary table showing the total cost by month and year. So total cost. It's already total cost here. We're going to use the adjusted one. So what we're going to do is we're going to show per month, because these are, 3,000 entries, and there are, entries for 2023, and these are for different months. So here, total cost means we're going to have the sum per month, okay, in a particular year of the total cost. So January will be separate, it will be added because there are entries in January. For example, there are 31 days in January. So all of this will be added. So that is total cost. That's the meaning of this. Okay, by month and year. So that means we have to show the year and show the months and place these in the transaction analysis. So we have to select the whole table. We don't need this z-score and min-max scaling until here only, until adjusted total cost. Select the first row, Control Shift arrow down, and then insert pivot table. Okay, so let's go towards the end. You can put it here, existing. Okay, so select existing worksheet and okay. So it doesn't allow us what we're going to do. Okay, let's do it again. Control Shift arrow down, insert pivot table and existing. We have here our location. All right, so the question is showing the total cost by month and year. So that means we have to select the total cost, and month and year, that is actually the sale date. Okay, the sale date contains all the months there and the year. As you can see here, we have the year, we have the month, and we have the time. Okay, so this is timestamp. We don't need the quarters, so we can remove the quarters. And if you're going to close this here, it becomes like this. So we need to transfer the total cost to the other side. So sometimes, see, when I click anywhere here in this column, it doesn't show the field. So what you're going to do, select and go to pivot table analyze and select field list to display this again. Okay, because it might happen. So we need to transfer the total cost to the other side. Okay, and change the count to sum, because we need total cost, so sum. Okay, so now as you can see here, we have the total cost for 2023, total cost for 2024. We need to show the month as mentioned here, showing the month and year. So we need to click the plus. When you click the plus, it shows the months, 2024 as well. Okay, and we need now to have the month over month percentage. So how to calculate the month over month percentage? We have to start from here. So this is month over month percentage. Of course, this is the total. We don't need to put anything there. Here as well, we don't need to put anything. Start from here. February, we are going to compare with January. So equals, this one is 006. That's February. So 06 minus before that, January, is 05. Divide 06. Okay, so you need to know how to find cell address. This is O and this is 6 here. Minus 05 before that, divide February, because this is for February. So as you can see here, it's negative. It's negative because from 189, it becomes 177. Okay, so why we use this technique? Because if you're going to select equals these, it becomes very long. It gives you the pivot table, you know, categories, description there, the parameters. So you'll be confused. Now you just have to drag this one down. First, you select the percentage, increase, basically 2 or more decimal places, and drag it down until December. Okay, so this one is positive because from 177 it became 183. Now, this is the total for 2024. We don't need to put anything there. We are now going to compare January 2024 to December 2023. So equals, okay, equals, open. This is 018 minus this one. This is 016. Be careful here, don't compare with the sum of 2024. We are comparing January 2024 with this December 2023, divide 018. Okay, it's always equal here. The divisor is always equal to the first. Okay, so we compared January with December. So it's positive because 194, here we have 203. Okay, now we cannot drag this one down because this one, you know, we excluded this cell. So we need to calculate for February, the difference between February and this. So equals, open, this is 019 minus 018 divide 019. So make this percent, increase. Don't select both, select the February and drag it down. So only February and drag it down. So this is perfect now. Let's make all of this the same. So this is the month-over-month percentage change. And of course, you can comment. We talk about this, about, you know, the seasonal patterns. So we need to calculate the minimum, the highest sales, and the lowest sales based on the total cost. Identify seasonal patterns. So let's have here 2023 minimum and maximum. So minimum is the lowest, max is the highest. We can copy this and paste here, change this to 2024. So we can make this as the minimum and maximum for 2023, and we put the month here, equals minimum of 2023, January to December. Enter. So that's 176. So that's June 176,228. Okay, so for max equals max of January to December in 2023. So 206, this one, November. All right. For 2024, same equals min of January to December in this year. So 179. That's February. And max, the same formula. Max of 2024. That's 216. That's December. Okay, and you can write a comment here for the seasonal patterns. You might say that in 2024, December has the total sum of, or the highest total cost. Okay, this could be because of, you know, the Christmas season in this year where many people are buying. And Feb 2024, you can mention is the lowest in 2024. And same thing you can mention about 2023. Okay, so I talked about it already in the class. I don't need to write it here. That is actually based on your own observation, based on the data set here. Okay, any logical comment will do. So let's now have the one-hot encoding on the category column. So one-hot encoding is a very important aspect, especially later on when you're going to work with machine learning. So you need to know how to convert to Boolean values. When you say Boolean, there are only two, 1 or 0. 1 is equal to true, 0 is false. Okay, so it's binary. If it is true, it's going to show 1. If it is false, it's going to show 0. So how to do this? The category is what you are looking for. That is here under transaction. As mentioned here, we need to perform one-hot encoding for the category column. So we can put it here. Okay, so we can insert here a column. Okay, 1, 2, 3, or you can insert these columns here. Okay, so all right, so let's have more, but let's check first how many. So what we're going to do, we're going to just select this column filter and check how many. So how many unique categories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it means we need to add 5 here. Okay, so let me get this. We need one more. All right, so here we have 5 columns already. To save time, what we do is to insert a pivot table. You can select this until total cost because we need only the category. Even you can select until category, Control Shift arrow down, insert pivot table, and existing. You can put the answer here and select category. It will show you the unique categories. So what you do is just to copy this This is to save time. And here, we're going to select the first one here because it should be aligned to the title. So here, we're going to put the titles here. So paste special, right click, paste special, transpose. So now all the titles are here. Select the columns and double click. It will adjust automatically. And this one you don't need, you can delete this. This is just for you to have this and save time. Okay, so you can have some borders there. So now we're going to have the one hot encoding, application security. So in this column, if it is application security, it should show 1, otherwise 0. So for example, here, this is application security. In this row here, this should be 1 here. This first 2 rows should be 0 because these are not application security. These are network and endpoint security. So how to do that? And this is how machine learning actually reads your data. Okay, 1, 0. So equals if, okay, if this is equal to this, then it should be 1, comma 1, otherwise 0. Okay, so if D2, this is D2 here, okay, equals this, then it's 1, otherwise 0. Okay, so this is the answer. Now, before you drag this one down, we need to save time to apply this formula for cloud security, endpoint security, and the rest. Okay, so here we're going to put a $sign before the 1. Okay, so what does this mean? 1 here is what? This is the row 1 actually. So it is locked. And J is not locked. There is no $sign before that. It means J, when we drag this to the right, will keep on changing. When you drag this to the right, it will become K1, then L1. So only the row will be changing later. The row is locked. Only this J, the columns will be changing. That's the meaning of that, because there is no $sign before J. It means when you drag this to the right, J will keep on changing the columns. It will become K here, L here, M, and N. But 1 will not change because 1 is locked. Okay, because there is $sign before that. So the row is locked, but the column is not locked. Here, D2. So we want D2 for all of this one here. Okay, so for this here, for the second row, this should be for D3. So how are we going to lock the other fields here? Because we want the number to be changing. Only the number to be changing. This is D2, next is D3. So the D should not be changing. So here we can lock this. Okay. So D is locked. The number will keep on changing when you drag this one down. Okay, because there is no $sign here. Here there is a $sign before D. When you move this down, drag this one down, D will not change, but the number will change because it's not locked. Okay, so Now you can drag this one to the right. So as you can see here, D2, here we have E2. This is correct because cloud security okay, this should be D2 here as well. So let's try to fix this. The first one, I think I edited the second one. So here we're going to lock this, and here we're going to lock the D. Enter, let's check, okay, and drag it to the right. Yes. So here, as you can see, is D2, but it's now K1. So this is correct. This is K1. And here, L1 and D2 again. 1, because this is network security here. Yes, so that's why it is 1 here. These are all 0 because the correct value here, the value here is network security. So only network security is 1 and the rest will be 0. Okay, so we can now drag this one down, select this row and drag it down. Okay, so the next step is to check. So let's check this one, for example, this is 1. It means that this row should be application security because 1. So let's check. Yes, it's application security. Here, let's check this value 1, endpoint security. So let's highlight this row. This is 1 here. So this should be endpoint security. Yes, it's correct. Endpoint security. So that's the last step. You have to check, double check the values, whether it is correct or not. So as I said, you have to work on the first cell only, drag it to the right and drag it down. So here we lock the row. We did not lock the column. So when we drag to the right, J becomes K, becomes L, and so on. And here we lock the column because we have $ before D. D is column. 2 is the row. We don't have any $ here, so it will keep on changing. If you cannot do this, you need to do this manually here one by one, which is very time consuming. Okay, so this is the answer. This is our one-hot encoding. Next is we're going to identify the outliers using IQR, and we're going to use box plot as well. So transaction analysis. So actually we can put it here or we can put it in a different sheet because there are many, but also we can put it here if you want to. So we can have here our Q1. Q1 is the first quartile. And we can copy this. This is Q3, which is the third quartile. Then we have IQR, which is the interquartile range. Okay, this is Q3 minus Q1. The first quartile is equal to quartile exclusive. We talk about the total cost. So we use the adjusted one. Then comma 1. Comma 1 because first quartile. So the question is, identify the total cost outliers. So that's why we highlighted here the total cost, G to G. For the third quartile equals quartile exclusive. We select the adjusted total cost, comma 3. Comma 3 because third quartile. So this is 25% of the data set. This is 75%. It means that from the lowest until 828.66, 25% of the data. From the lowest until 2209.76, that's 75% of the data. So you can check that total cost here. Okay, select the column conditional, highlight, okay, less than this value, and if you're going to filter this and filter by color, these ones, okay, these are approximately 25% of all the data points. So there are 582 minus 1 because of the title, 581. So 581 there. This is approximately 25% of the data set. So let's unfilter that, clear, and filter again. Okay, so this one from the minimum until 2209.76, 75% of the data set approximately. For IQR, we have to subtract Q3 and Q1, so minus Q1. So this is the value. Now, the lower bound for the outlier, here we're going to have outliers, is equal to 1. This is Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. This is the formula. And for the upper bound, that's Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. So here is plus, here is minus. So lower bound, that means lower than these values are outliers. Upper bound, it means higher than these values, part of the outliers. So equals Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR is negative 1242 equals Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Okay, so any value lower than negative 1242 is part of the outlier. Okay, and any value lower than higher than 4281.41 is part of the outlier. So you can check from here, total cost. This one we can remove the shading there. So conditional formatting, highlight, less than this value. Okay, so filter by color, there's nothing there. It means there are no values lower than negative because we don't have negative there. So now 4281 greater than that. Conditional highlight, greater than this value. Then we filter by color. So there are three, 4,500, 4695 point something, and the last one. So these are the outliers. You can copy this one and put it there. Here. You can say outliers. Well, you can decide to remove this, okay, because they're affecting our data sets. So filter again, and here you can remove the shading, conditional clear from selected cells. Now, let's apply box plot or box plot whiskers to identify the outliers. So one of the ways to apply or to identify the outliers is using this mathematical method here. But to show this graphically with all other measures, the best is, this is just for us to understand the mathematical part. But the visualization, we can use box plot. So select the adjusted total cost, insert. This is the best one, box plot from here. Then more, and select box and whisker. Okay. So we can separate this, or you can put this one, cut and paste here. Then we can rename this as total cost outliers. Now there are no numbers here. As you can see, there are 3 dots. These are the outliers. These are correct here. So how to show the numbers? Select the dots here, right click. Okay. Add data labels. So the numbers will appear. So as you can see, the outliers are correct. There are 3, 4, 5, 4695, 4971 is here. So it's perfect. And to see the numbers properly, you can select the numbers, change the color to red. Okay. Now let's look at this one. These are the outliers, the ones with the dots. Okay, so this is actually the mean in the middle, the X. So the mean is, you can make this bigger also from here. And you can decrease. Okay, of course you can decrease if you want to. So the mean is 1561.68. That's the mean. You can write here 1561.68. Now, anyway, to check these values is very easy. You don't need to do this manually. If you want to check the values by selecting the data set, total cost, adjusted one, data analysis to check, and go type D, descriptive statistics, okay. The input range, you can select these columns and tick labels because you have the title. And the output you can have here, close to this, close to our answer here. You can put it here. And you can include this summary. Just tick all of this and okay. So it will show you the mean. The mean is correct, 1561. This is to double check. Yes. And our median is this. This is the median, 1657. The mode is 2485.98. So the mode is not here. So the median is this, 1657. Okay. And what else there? We have standard deviation. So 276 point something. That's the minimum. This one is the minimum. 276. Okay. Maximum is 4971.96. It is here, the last point there. That is the maximum. Okay, with this one is not required. Okay, so this is the median here, and 828.66. This is the first quartile. This one here. Yes, it's correct. 828.66. And 2209.76. That is the third quartile. It's perfect. Okay, so this is the mean in the middle. This is the mode. This is the median, I mean. So mean, and here is the median. The mode is not there. This is the third quartile, first quartile, minimum. And this is before the outliers, 276, 2.2. So box plot is really very powerful, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. So actually it gives us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because this is like 1. This is all outliers. So 1 outliers, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 measures. Okay, so you can write here as the box plot for the total cost outliers. Okay. All right, so let's now fix our email column. We don't have, some of the users have no email, as you can see here. If you're going to filter and take this and go to the blanks, there are 3 people without emails. Okay, so let's use a concatenate function. Whatever we do here, it will be affecting the sheet, because this sheet is linked to that. This email here, it's considered 0 here. This is linked to the user profile. So if you're going to fix this email here, the email is using the name and using this domain, cybercorp.com. So we can copy this domain, Control C, just highlight, escape, and filter this, filter the blanks, untick, and select blanks only. And here equals concatenate fx. Our text one is the username or the customer name. And here we copy that, cybercorp.com. That's the domain, but we have to put here double quotes before and after. Okay. So that is the email, because the email actually here is using the customer name and this this domain, email domain at cybercorp.com. Okay, so just drag this one down. So everything is filled and filter. So here now, as you can see, we don't have blanks anymore here because this one is linked. So filter, check these. We don't have blanks anymore. Nothing. Okay, so that is fixed as well. That is using a concatenate function. Now we can combine sheets automatically by looking at the primary key and foreign key, for example. So Power Query is very powerful. We can merge sheets and it can immediately link the columns. Okay, so for example, user profile merge with this. Okay, we can merge these two. Okay, but we are going to select only this because these ones are, our solutions to the answer. So the original is only until here, the adjusted one. And here is user profile. These are all copied. It's only until severity. Why this is added? Let's delete this. It has added automatically. It has been added. Okay. Anyway, it's only until here, severity. This one is not needed. This is inserted by mistake. So our table is until here only, until severity. This is repeated from customer ID. So let's highlight this. And transactions, we need only until column G. Okay, so let's combine these two sheets, for example, using a Power Query. How to do that? You just have to go to data. First, you can select this. Okay, select the first row, Control Shift arrow down. And data, get data. Okay, I think by mistake I clicked this. Okay, data, get data from other sources from table, because we are already inside the workbook. So from table, and okay. Unload this one. You don't need to transform this because we are just going to combine them. So load. Close and load. And rename it to avoid confusion. This is, user profile. It's opening. Close and load. And rename as user profile to avoid confusion. Now, transactions. We select until adjusted. Control Shift arrow down. Data. Get data from other sources from table. Okay. In the same manner, you have to close and load and rename it as transactions to avoid confusion. So now we are going to combine this two using the Power Query. Okay, so we have user profile and this. As you can see here, our user profile, customer ID is the first column. And in our transactions, customer ID is in the second column. So this is primary because all the numbers are unique here. We deleted the duplicates. Here, some numbers will be duplicated because this is about transaction. So a customer might have, several transactions based on the order. Okay, like you, for example, you have a student ID, you will have different modules or different lecturers. So your IDs might be repeated here. So if it is like this, the customer IDs are repeated, this is foreign key. In the transactions, here we have the primary key, no duplicates, okay? Because this talks about user profile. So these are not duplicated. So everyone is unique here, of course. Like student profile, for example, every student is unique. Okay, so how to combine these two in such a way that we don't need to use XLOOKUP and VLOOKUP like what we did here to get the customer name, country, and it's automatic. Okay, it's going to link automatically based on the customer ID. So we have to use the customer ID as the primary and the foreign key. So just click again data, get data, combine, merge. Okay. So you have to select here, okay, transactions, and select the customer ID, and user profile, select the customer ID. Okay, because these two are common fields. Then okay, it's going to combine both the tables or both sheets. So here, this left and right arrow, just double click this, and then okay, to show all the columns. Okay, so everything is there now. So it is matching by customer ID. And close and load, second one, close and load to table. Okay, so this are the details. This is the merge one. Okay, so as you can see here, everything is there from user profile and transactions merged together. So the user profile is from here. The first one is until here, adjusted total cost. This is for the user profile, and okay, where is the transactions? Okay, as you can see here, customer name, customer ID is repeated here. And we have the country here. Okay, so everything is there. Let's look at this properly. Maybe it's repeating everything only. Okay, the first one here is order ID until adjusted total cost. So let's look at it. That is for the transactions. Is correct. Okay, and the next one is for the user profile. Okay, so it's matching exactly using the customer ID. For example, this customer ID 105419 is only until adjusted total cost, but now it's giving us all the details: the country, the region, the email, incident type, severity, and all. Okay, so this is how to use join kind to combine two or more tables, and it's matching using a particular key which is common to both. Okay, here we are matching using the customer ID. So this customer ID is matching exactly. So we don't need to use XLOOKUP or VLOOKUP to import other columns from other sheets because they are now combined. Okay, let's check one, for example. Okay, okay, this customer 105369. This is coming from the south, and this is the phishing. This is incident type is phishing. Okay, so let's check 105369. So Control F,
Yes.
It's fishing, is correct. And the country is blank for this particular person. So it's matching exactly. Here is fishing and the country is blank here. So it's correct. It's matching exactly. It's like using X lookup or V lookup at one go for everything. So this is very powerful. That's why we call this as Power Query. So I believe I have answered all the questions. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time. Bye bye.